When I found out I was pregnant with Joe, I was elated. We had tried for a while, and it was just so exciting, so overwhelming to finally think that we were going to be parents.
Everything was going along fine. Linda had been doing everything right, and we were looking forward to getting past the early difficulties and moving on. And suddenly we were on a family visit down to Houston, Texas, and Linda started having what seemed like labor pains.
I really thought they were just going to say, well, just keep laying down and drink some water, and they told us we needed to find a hospital in Houston and be prepared for the worst, which would be the delivery of this baby.
They were able to calm it down with some muscle relaxants and get us on a plane to head home.
They ran lots of tests and said absolutely nothing indicates you will give birth, and you'll probably go home on bed rest and be fine and continue this pregnancy until 40 weeks, the normal length of time. And I guess medicine doesn't know everything, because the morning I was supposed to be discharged, Joe was born.
We went from this sense of relief that we are going to go home and have a full-term pregnancy to the realization that the baby's coming out right now.
Within an hour, it was, this baby has to come out now. And it was the most terrifying moment of my life.
Joseph was born via an emergency C-section, and so I was there holding my wife's hand during that, and I had the view of what was going on, and I told Linda that after the fact that he looks like a fighter, because the first thing that happened was his small fist punched out of her stomach, and then a foot, and then the doctors pulled him up, and he was doing his best to breathe. He didn't cry a lot because every bit of effort was going into trying to breathe, because the lungs are the last thing to develop. When Joe was born, he immediately needed to go to the neonatal intensive care unit. I had gone over there while she was sleeping, and to see Joe hooked up to so much equipment and looking so fragile was really scary, because it just emphasized how much the odds were against him being born at 25 weeks.
I was wheeled in to the NICU on a gurney, and I wasn't really sure what I might see there. But I do remember saying, he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I honestly do not recall that he had half a dozen wires and tubes in him. That was my moment with my baby meeting him for the first time.
He came down with pneumonia about a week and a half after his birth, and he progressively got worse and had to go on more significant breathing support for about a week, until things had gotten so bad that when our phone rang at home in our bedroom at 4 a.m., we knew what the news was, and we knew it was bad.
How could this possibly happen? That a baby 3.5 months premature, we eventually discovered had pneumonia. His lungs couldn't handle room air. How could they handle pneumonia?
They recommended, if whatever religion that we subscribe to, that we might want to make preparations for Joseph, because that's, at that point they have no way of knowing which direction that he was going to go. one of the respiratory therapists accidentally pulled the breathing tube out when trying to adjust it. This kind of stuff happens. It wasn't that big of a deal. They just had to re-intubate him. The golden luck of it, though, was that they took the tube that accidentally came out, ran a test on it, and actually identified the type of pneumonia that he had, and were able to tailor the antibiotics for Joe, and that's what started his recovery. And when they were able to tailor it towards exactly what they were fighting, suddenly he started making progress instead of going backwards.
After about 90 days in the hospital, came home on oxygen. Within a week or two at home, was pulling the oxygen off his face and refusing to cooperate with it. Just decided he was fine without it, and has been a happy growing boy ever since.
Today, Joe's amazing. Today, I wish I had 1/10 the energy that Joe has in his body and his mind. What I attribute to him being healthy and being where he is now is the NICU system that exists and the technologies that exist now that didn't exist as recent as 20-25 years ago. Thankfully, groups like March of Dimes have funded research and have developed things. And in the end, Joe and us and the rest of our family are the benefactors of that for having Joe here. What March of Dimes has done for me is allowed me to be a father to Joseph.
I want to give them my thanks, and there's no words that will do that. And so the best I can do is say, just look at Joe, and that's all my thanks.